Hello guys, how are we? I hope you're doing really well. As promised, I wanted to bring you a training here. I want to serve you in the best ways possible. I want to give you all of the value that I can that is absolutely going to help you transform where you currently are. And as we spoke about, this particular training is going to be around physical symptoms around your anxiety. Now, there's going to be some parts of this that I go into with you that are going to be different to what you've heard previously. Okay, now this is the way that I record these on Loom here because they're the easiest way that you can see me communicating some certain things down here and you can see the presentation of what I'm going to share with you. So here's the thing, guys. In this particular training, what you're going to find out is I'm going to show you how to understand what these physical symptoms are. First and foremost, I'm going to give you two frameworks that you must know, very simple, and I'm going to give you the one key step you need to take today. As always, I like to make things simple. I don't believe in making things complex. Complexity is the enemy of execution. When you make things super complex, we don't know where to start. And you see, there's a couple of things that are important that we know about physical symptoms, or what you are calling physical symptoms. Because you see, what is a physical symptom at the end of the day? A physical symptom is this, basically. A physical symptom is a physical sensation is basically a physical sensation. They're not a sign of anything until you give them a meaning. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day. But all of a sudden, when you become aware of it beating a little bit harder, you tell yourself, oh my God, this is some form of health anxiety quote, or this is a sign of this is a sign of that. Now, I'm bringing you this training with most likely the knowledge and the understanding on your side that you are currently in a situation where you don't have any existing medical conditions that are affecting you, or you've been checked out by your doctor. And the reason that I'm saying this to you is because it goes without saying, if there is a real physical ailment or issue there, that needs to be checked out. That goes without saying. However, so if you have been to your doctor, or you've been this, or you've been to someone qualified in that area and they've said to you, no, this isn't that, then this is for you. Okay? Because a physical sensation is a physical sensation. It's not a sign of anything until you give it a meaning. And what I mean by that is, like what I said, the heart can beat, and then all of a sudden I'm saying it's this or I'm saying it's that. Now, there's many reasons why. One meaning the emotional needs that I always talk about. One meaning our previous experiences of life. Loads of reasons why you are giving it a particular meaning. But see, let me show you with you step 2 there. Some of you have probably already read. The reason you're labeling them as a symptom is because you don't have an empowering reason or label you think you can give to those feelings. As an example, let me give you an example here. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day. If you're there and you're sitting there and you wake up first thing in the morning and you feel your heart beating, all of a sudden, you don't have a reason for that. So where your mind generally goes is what you've always told it, based on the fact that you might have emotional needs that need filling, which is deeper than what I'm going to explain to you on this training. But what you do is go, oh my God, it's a sign of my anxiety. It's a sign of this. It's a sign of that. Why? Because you don't have an empowering reason. Let's say you woke up in the morning, analogy number 2 here. You woke up in the morning, and when you woke up, all of a sudden it was the morning that you was going to spend 7 nights in the Maldives, and you was about to catch your plane soon, and your heart starts beating. What would you tell yourself then? I'd imagine you tell yourself, oh my God, I'm super excited. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I woke up today and I just couldn't sit still. My heart was beating. I was super excited. You don't have an empowering reason why. So you're just labeling these reasons as saying it's this, because our brain needs a label for things. This is the way the brain works. The brain needs to attach a label. That's why when you've started to becoming aware of your heart beating, and I'm using this as a simple example here, but it could be anything, the heart beating or the random shooting pain that turns up in your arm that doesn't actually mean anything, but you're focused on that now. You're going, oh, what is that? What is that? And the reason you're doing that is probably because of deeper emotional needs, like what I talk about. But you're going, what is that? And so you're googling things, random shooting pain in my arm, heart beating fast, and your Google says this could be a sign that you may be struggling with anxiety. Oh my god, I must have anxiety. Well, first of all, anxiety is not something you have; it's something you do. But this is the reason why you then start to conjure up number one, a sign of it being a meaning, and number two is just because that one particular time, this is the reason why. Now, that's the first analogy. The other reason is because you've had an experience previously in your life, and now all of a sudden, all of these physical symptoms that you're feeling, you're now attaching to it means the same thing as back then, i.e., what's an example here that would work for you? Let's say, for example, you had an experience with your family and there was something that went on in your family, and you remember at the time that heart was beating quite fast and heart was getting quite racy in that moment because, you know, there was something that went on in the family. Every time your heart races now, it's the same meaning of, oh God, that's when everything went wrong and that made me feel all anxiousy and worried and this and that. So you're just repeating the meaning based on previous experience. Does that make sense? Because they will be the reasons why. But really, what we want to be able to do here is see physical symptoms as physical symptoms, because that's what they are. Physical symptoms are physical symptoms. Sorry, I really need to rephrase that. That's not correct. Physical sensations, are physical sensations. That's what I meant to say. Physical sensations are physical sensations. And you see, it's only when we start to attach meanings and things like this that they become a real thing. So hopefully you're up to speed with this now, because you see from this place, some of you are going, okay, what am I supposed to do? What do I do? And you're looking a little bit like this over here. Well, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm in this situation. Well, let me explain a little bit further. There are two frameworks you need to understand. Very, very clear. Very clear, so there's no confusion here. A physical sensation plus a disempowering meaning, i.e., physical sensation, my heart's beating, oh my God, this is a sign of me going to start hyperventilating. Or a shooting pain in my arm means, oh my God, this is the sign that my arm's going to fall off. Or, oh my God, this is a sign of a heart attack. Or, oh my God, this is a sign of this. If you assign a disempowering meaning, anxiousness, worry, doubt, fear, whatever you want to put in this end box, that will be yours. Because that is the way that our brain and our emotions work. Physical sensation plus a disempowering meaning will equal that. Physical sensation plus an empowering meaning will lead you to more action-focused movement, what I call your AFM, your action-focused movement, the things that you can do, the things that you can achieve. Now, let me give you a small example here that will really attach this for you. I've been fortunate enough to work with many people in my life, many people from all sorts of backgrounds. And you see, I was working with an actress at one stage. And this actress, she was having trouble performing her particular job. And see, what was she having trouble performing about? Well, she's come to me at a time when she said, anytime I arrive on set, she said, I can just feel this anxiousness. And it really stops me from doing my job, acting. And I said, okay, tell me, how does it show up for you? She said, what do you mean? I was like, well, you're telling me you get anxious. You're telling me you have, she said, anxiety. So tell me, how does that show up for you? She was like, well, everyone will be on set and just sort of chatting. And then someone will come in and start to put us in position. And then when that starts happening, she said, I can feel my heart start to race a little bit more. I can feel my hands getting all sweaty. I can feel my heart sort of beating out of my chest, and everything becomes to speed up a little bit more. And she said, and in that moment, she says, I know I'm getting really anxious and I'm having an anxiety attack. I said, interesting. And I worked with the lady across the 8 weeks on my 8-week program, and she was flying, absolutely flying by the end, going back to her job, wonderful. But you see, about 3 or 4 months later, I was working with a footballer. For those of you that may or may not know, I was a professional footballer for 8 years. And after my career ended, naturally, I was working with footballers myself. And we was working around something slightly different. And I said to him, tell me a time when you felt supremely confident. He said, yep, I've got one. So, that was quick. Tell me, when was that moment? And he said, well, I get it all the time. I said, okay, when? He said, when I'm standing in the tunnel before a game, ready to head out onto the pitch. And I was like, right. Why is it that you're confident? How do you know you're confident? He said, I just am. I was like, great, but how do you know? He said, let me think. And he sat there for a moment and thought. And he said, yeah, I think I've got it. I said, go on. And he said, I stand there in the tunnel. And he said, I start just sort of moving side to side as I look out onto the pitch. He said, the other team come and line up on the other side of the tunnel. And then he said, as I'm standing there, he said, the referees come walking past. And he said, every time the referees come walking past, he said, everything starts to speed up. My heart starts beating faster. I start getting sweaty in my hands. Everything starts to rate. My heart starts pumping really like a lot within me. And he said, everything starts to really build up. And then when the referees say it's time to go, he said, in that moment, I know I'm ready to move into action. And you see, the way that he said it to me, probably a little bit of the way that you're looking at this screen now, I sat there for a moment and straight away I thought of the actress. Straight away I thought of it because it was uncanny. It was uncanny the way they both described the same physical sensations of what happened in their life. And see, I said, And I'd done my session with him, and then I closed that laptop lid and I was like, right. What on earth just happened there? And I remember sitting there, I was like, come on, man, think. What is the reason why? Why did the actress think that she was having an anxiety attack? Why did the footballer mean that this meant that he was supremely confident? Think. And I remember I was doing my brain, and then I went, got it. What they are choosing to focus on and the meaning they are giving. What they are choosing to focus on and the meaning that they are giving. And when I said that, I was like, I've blimmin' well got it. The actress, she's give this the meaning that this heart beating and everything else means that she can't do her job and she's not ready. The footballer is giving it the meaning that this means that I'm ready to step up. I'm ready to smash it. I'm ready to go into my, as I've said here, action-focused movement. I was like, yes. And I stood up and I went to walk out and I thought, no, that's not it. That's not it. That can't be it. Because why didn't the actress give it the empowering meaning? And why didn't the footballer give it the disempowering meaning? So I sat back down. I was like, right, come on, think. I was like, right, write this down. And I wrote a line down the middle of the page. And I was like, so let's have this right. They've both been doing their roles for about 10 years. The footballer's obviously just done it and done his thing. And obviously the actress here, well, for the last 4 years, she's sort of been struggling this way. For the first 6 years, she was fine. And then obviously she had that moment where, and I caught myself. And I said, And you see, what had happened with the actress is for the first 6 years of her career, she was completely fine. She was completely fine. She couldn't even tell me or pinpoint anything. But then you see, about 4 years before she had seen me, she was going through some situations in her life. There were some situations in her relationship and finances and all these types of things. And she said she turned up to work one day, on set, And she said she just remembered it was all a little bit overwhelming and her heart was racing and this and that and everything that went on. And she said she just didn't feel like she could do it that day. And in that moment, she gave herself what's called an emotional attachment to those feelings. She gave herself an emotional attachment to those feelings. And she said to herself, this means I'm in this place. Previously, these things could have happened in the exact same way, but because she wasn't in the same place of where she was and she was a bit overwhelmed and all these things going on at this time in her life, she didn't really give it that attachment. She just dealt with it, did her job, whatever. Or she might have done what the footballer said. We didn't really discuss that. But see, the footballer had never had those moments. He just had the same physical sensations and just said, you know what, this means I'm moving into action, because he was acting from a blank canvas. Is this making sense? The actress didn't. The reason I'm looking down here, by the way, is this because this is where the picture of me is. So this is where I'm looking, but I'm talking to you here on this screen. Because you see, this is where they found themselves. And this is where it was like, huh. And so I went away and I said, right, first of all, I wish I was working with her again, because I would have done it in even quicker time than the 8 weeks of what I did it. But you see, in doing this, I was like, right, so people's experiences of life are what are shaping the meanings that they're having. So if I take you back to this, the reason that you're doing it is because you're giving it a meaning, maybe because of an experience that you've had, possibly because you don't have an empowering reason to label it. Like I said, if you're going to the Maldives, you're like the footballer about to step out on the pitch. It's got an empowering reason of what you're doing this for, i.e. why this is. If you don't, you're just going, oh God, it must mean something. I can't tell you the amount of times I've woken up in the morning and I've noticed my heart beating, especially since I've been doing this role of where I do this and I help people, because this is where my focus goes. And it's funny because I wake up some mornings and I notice it and I go, huh, it's interesting, because I know so many of my clients at this would have got themselves into a tiz. And here I am just going, huh, interesting. I've sat there many times. You know, when you get that like shooting pain into your heart, I've had that. Or I've had the shooting pain up the arm. The reason I was using those is because I've experienced them. So I know exactly what it is. A physical symptom is just a physical symptom until you give it a meaning. And the reason you give it a meaning is either because of your personal experience, i.e. the actress, or you don't have an empowering reason. So then you go, oh God, I need to give it a meaning because the brain loves a label. Can you see how all this is adding up together now? And see, the reason it loves a label, I'm getting into this a bit now, is because it feels deeper emotional needs. One of those is to keep you safe, and to keep you safe, it needs to know what this thing is. I'm going a bit more detailed with you now. This is why these are private trainings, because I could never explain this really just on, how long have I been with you here? Nearly 18 minutes. I could never just explain this in a real, or apart from in private trainings like this. And so, go back to this. This is where we are. And so if you're with me now and you're still with me, this is because this is making sense to you. So what do you need to do? Well, I'll show you what you need to do. Because you see, this is the one key step you need to take today. You need to start changing your evidence. Obviously, if you work with me on a one-to-one basis, or in my life empowerment program, or whatever it may be, I can help you do this like that. But I'm looking to give you this training so you can take control in these ways. And see, the one thing that you can start to do is start to change your evidence. Because you see, for the last 4 years of her life, that actress, before she had come to see me, when she looked back on her life, the last 4 years were, yeah, every single time, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And she had had that for 4 years, she told me. But really, she hadn't. If you think about it, really, she had that one experience 4 years ago. And then the next time that physical sensation come up, she linked it back to the first time. And then when the physical sensation come up the time after that, she linked it back to that previous time that was only a week ago, that was linked back to that first time. But really, the thing that happened a week ago wasn't actually real, because that thing that happened a week ago was based off the first time. Is this making sense? And then that had gone on for 4 years, to a point where every time she looked back, it was only a week ago, Matt, that I really struggled with this trait. But really, she hadn't. Really, that trait from a week ago was built off a month before that, which was built off a month before that, which was all built on stilts, which was based on one time 4 years ago. when she had things going on in her finances and relationships that really hit home for her and she had a little bit of a moment. We all have moments. Does that mean that 4 years down the line now she's still saying she has physical symptoms and is caught up in all of this? No. But the meaning that she had given, this disempowering meaning, had constantly led to these traits. So what do you need to do here? Start to change your evidence. And how are you going to do that? Well, this is you, apparently. This is you. This is you with your physical sensation that's cropped up, let's say. Whatever physical sensation that may be. This is you with your physical sensation that's cropped up. And these are the steps that are not a should or an absolute must if you're going to change this. Number one, surprise, surprise, you need to put yourself in a state. A high, empowered, high energy, high volume state. Because I promise you, for most of you, you put yourself in state, the rest of this chain will take care of itself. Because for most of you, I guarantee, the very high likelihood is these physical symptoms, as you are calling them, are coming about when you're in a low energy state. When you're feeling down here, no, we need to raise that vibrational level. So the first thing is to put yourself in that state. The second thing is to then start to say, right, how can I give this a meaning? I.e., you know what? Heart's starting to beat. Maybe this is meaning that I need, this is my sign for me to grow. Use this training. You know what? There's that sign again. This is the sign for me to start to shift this to my empowering meaning. This is the sign for me to grow. This is the sign for me to go, you know what? I'm not going to go back and continually produce the same old evidence because that doesn't make me feel good. This is a sign that I need to do something about it. Because trust me, you can make yourself feel safe. And as I say, all of this is built on deeper emotional needs. You can make yourself meet those emotional needs by doing this. And then from there, it's like, right, what can I do? How can I move into action? What is it I want to achieve? What is it I want to focus on? How can I go and do something? The footballer stepping out onto the pitch, or the actress who wants to go and act in that moment. What is it I can currently do to rewrite the evidence, to change the evidence, to show that when this sensation could arise, I change my state, I give it a new meaning, and before I already know it, I'm already busy focusing on something I want to achieve. This isn't distracting yourself. This is focusing on the things you want to achieve and do. Because when you do that, guess what happens? And you do that consistently for yourself, you start to create a new emotional attachment to the feelings you're experiencing. And then, for example, you wake up of a morning and then it's like, heartbeat. Oh my God, this is a sign that, okay, now I'm ready to move into action. Why? Because you've completely rewired and changed the association to what this sensation is. For so long now, for some of you, for the last couple of days, weeks, months, years, this symptom, as you've called it, providing, as I said at the start of this, it's not something that the doctor has told you is actually a real tangible thing that needs, obviously, possibly a doctor's support with. This is something that we know there's nothing wrong, but I still go there. Well, the reason is because, as I've explained to you here. So now when that happens, it's like, right. Or like me, for example, I've done so many of these now. I'd never in my years previously ever even noticed if my heart, when I woke up, if my heart was beating or not. Now I do it, and I maybe notice it once a week, maybe. But it's funny for me because the attachment is, interesting. So many of my clients would go down this route with this. Because for me, it puts me in a state, the meaning is empowering of what I've given it. And then I'm like, right, anyway, into my day. And that's what the attachment is. End of. So I just crack on with things. Someone else, they sit there and they dwell and they mull it over for for hours in bed thinking, oh my God, this is a sign of this is a sign of that. No. It's not. It's only a sign when you give them the meaning. Change the meaning, change the quality of emotion, you'll change your life. That goes for anything, by the way. And the only reason you're giving it the symptom, as I say, is because you don't have an empowering reason. That's it. And some of you might have been through some things. Cool. I understand that. I have empathy towards that. But is that the reason why you should still stay there now? I don't think so. So as I say, I hope you've enjoyed this training. If you want to go into further detail with this and you want me to help you further and you want me to help you implement this in potentially quicker time than you might be able to do on your own, no worries, reach out to me. Let me know. If you're already working with me and you're already doing this, this is just an extra thing for you to actually be able to put in place and understand in a deeper level, because you're already doing the work with me that you knows the foundation underneath all of this. This is the presenting thing that is just like I used the analogy yesterday with a client. This is like the cherry on the bakewell. Like, I think that's the right way. This is just the thing on top. The foundation's underneath. But for those of you who are watching this, this is a great place for you to be able to really own this and start to shift this. Okay? You know where I am if I can serve you further in any which way. Hope you've enjoyed this training, and I look forward to seeing and serving you again very, very soon. Take care, guys.